News Talk 820 WBAP now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. Hour number 2 of the Chris Rock Show. 800-288 WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. Did you see Trump show up without any notice with Dana White, CEO of UFC, on Turner on TNT? 18,000 people, New Jersey, blue state. And here's what happens. And then at the end, you're going to hear him shake somebody's hand, and they'll say, "How are you, sir?" That's Joe Rogan. Did you know that Joe Rogan's an announcer with the UFC? Everybody here except for me knew that. I had no idea. I know he's powerful. Okay, 2 of us didn't. The younger ones did. The 2 older ones. How many years you got on you, bro? I'm looking at my newsman in the program. How many years? Oh, you're only 38. Okay, I'm the old guy over here, over by there, and the young ones in their 20s. Knew everything. You two can go take a crap at a lake. Get out of here, you two. Oh, like a little girly man. He's refused to have Trump on. Isn't that ridiculous? What's Trump going to do? Bite his freaking head off? He's afraid that Trump will take over the show. That's what it is. That's the only reason why. Quite interesting. The whole time they were going nuts. I know that doesn't mean we're going to win. It doesn't. However, I will tell you that on the 5, Harold Ford, who's a lifelong Democrat from Memphis, African-American former congressman, he said his best friend from college was at this event, and he said he couldn't believe it, the electricity. He goes, he's not a Trump voter. He won't be voting for him, but he was floored at the electricity in that room, in that arena. And I'm telling you, I was going nuts just watching it again for the 3rd or 4th time. I mean, this is incredible. It's like being on a roller coaster in a good way. Like, yeah, woo! Ah, it's great. Energized. But the problem is, are enough of us going to go vote? I'm not saying us, I'm saying the rest. The key thing, though, is if a Trump despiser, if you will, a Democrat, sees that and sees how electrified it is, how many people in there are apolitical that see that and go, I'm voting for him? And those people, as a new poll show, that they are going to vote for him. Those people, the people who don't typically vote, kind of like, maybe I'll vote, maybe not. They're apolitical. So that's good. I wanted to also tell you that Mitt Romney, Mittens, and Senator Susan Collins, Mitt Romney, and Mitch McConnell, all Trump dislikers, strong Trump, I say haters, but really Trump haters. Those 3 milquetoast, rhino, fake Republicans, if you will, have come out rabidly against this case and said it's rigged. Quote, Bragg should have settled the case against Trump, as would have been the normal procedure, but he made a political decision, Romney said. Bragg may have won the battle for now, but he may have lost the political war. Democrats think they can put out the Trump fire with oxygen. It's political malpractice. Maybe Trump will again play President Biden's hand by making the election about Trump, says the Wall Street Journal editorial board today. He'll stop raging about his fate if he's smart and will make the election about Biden's record and Trump's plans for the next 4 years. I agree. But he does need to talk about what he's going through right now, because that's what they're going to do to us, any of us that stands up, and we can't afford to do it. Trump is very calm and under this tremendous pressure. Now, many Republicans we talked to are now more likely to vote for Trump. The Wall Street Journal with their rhino milquetoast, many of them are. That I love the paper. It's the only one I subscribe to. But you have to understand the context of it. Peggy Noonan, same kind of a way. She's like an iconic writer. She ain't saying nothing negative about him with this stuff. She, you know what I mean? So, like, those are the kinds, they start going for this, and then you're going to have a good chance. The Nikki Haley ones, the Nikki Haley voters, they don't like this. I would guarantee you most of them. We'll find out over the next several weeks. Anyway, so I wanted to just throw that in. And one more thing that I wanted to play for you. Listen to Bill Maher, and we're going to play the leftists saying Trump needs to go to jail. All the leftist Dems and hens on The View and all this crazy crap on they're on TV. You're going to hear them literally all like saying Trump's got to go to jail and all sorts of things, mocking him and stuff today. But also Bill Maher from Real Time, HBO's Real Time. He says, you're going to hear it in a second, he says Trump, I can't play the F part, but I believe we had to bleep it out, but Bill Maher says Biden's going to effing lose. Like twice. Like, there's no question he's going to lose, is what he says. I don't know. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227 on this Trump rigged case. Do you see a Clinton bounce in the polls coming for Trump like Clinton got after his impeachment? Do you think the American people are going to see right through all this blatant rigging? And do you think this is it, the Democrats' biggest trick to rig the election after a failed President Biden? Or is there more coming? 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Let's hear which one. Let's hear the media montage and the Democrat montage, how pathetic this is.
Do you think it would be dangerous for the country if Donald Trump were sentenced to jail?
This is, I think, what Donald Trump is aiming for. This is essentially his threat that if he gets jail time, that he's going to encourage his supporters to rise up.
They would just put him in a double wide somewhere out near the fence, out in the grass. It's obviously doable.
I'm afraid of him going to jail.
Wow.
And not for him, not for his safety. I'm more concerned for you and for all of us. In a prison situation, he's willing to give away these secrets, as I always say, for a bag of tuna or a book of stamps.
There is a very good chance, I think, that he will go to jail, even if it's just for 6 months. And I think we should take his word. Yes, I think 6 months.
That's the Hens on The View and Michael Cohen. For a bag of tuna, he'll give out trade secrets. Get out of here, you freaking loser. He's worthless. He's lost his license. Nobody will hire him. He's a serial liar and a convicted felon. Let's go to the last piece I wanted. You must hear this. This is Bill Maher on his real-time show doing an interview with some leftist journalists.
I can't say it enough. I said it many times. I would vote for his head in a jar of blue liquid over Donald Trump. But that doesn't mean that I'm not. First of all, I think it's a moot point at this point. Uh-huh. He's going to fucking lose.
Who, Biden?
Yes.
No, you're wrong.
No.
Well, I don't know. Was there a little? There's a little room in there, right? It sounded like he left a little room.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Biden's got a chance here, wouldn't it? Okay, now, next. Oh, by the way, one more thing. Did you hear that Trump joined TikTok today? Do you know how many followers he got in like a day? Do you know how many followers Biden has? Biden has about 1.2 million. You know how many followers Trump got in his first 24 hours? 4 million. 3 million more. You know why? Because Biden inspires crap obedience from the left that's like, I got to get this guy for the same old crap, that I support. You know what I mean? Nothing inspiring. Trump lights a fire on you. You might not like him, but he lights a fire on you one way or the other. And that's a leader. That's an effective person. Do you think people had milquetoast feelings about Dr. Martin Luther King when he was alive? No, they hated him or they loved him, didn't they? Same thing. Great people. How many people love Putin? Don't say Trump does, because he doesn't. In this country, not many. The love comes from propagandists and socialists or China. So they're allies. It doesn't come from average people that don't have a dog in the hunt. That's not the same with Trump. The left would try to convince you otherwise. Total BS. Now next. Saint Anthony Fauci, the second person to be sainted in the past few years, like St. George Floyd, blessed be his name, went under the grill, and there's so many lies he's caught for, so much great audio, including, he's nailed. You got to hear this. Coming up next, Chris Crock Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.
Once people feel empowered and protected legally, you are going to have schools, universities, and colleges are going to say, you want to come to this college, buddy? You're going to get vaccinated. Lady, you're going to get vaccinated. Yeah. Big corporations like Amazon and Facebook and all of those others are going to say, you want to work for us, you get vaccinated. And it's been proven that when you make it difficult for people in their lives, they lose their ideological bullshit and they get vaccinated.
Thank you. Are all objections to COVID vaccinations ideological bullshit, Dr. Fauci?
No, they're not, and that's not what I was referring to.
Well, in reference to making it hard for people to get education, traveling, working, I'd say it very much was in context. and I take great offense to this, Miss Allison Williams testified before this committee about losing her job because she sought an exemption for ESPN's vaccine mandate, which came from recommendations from bureaucrats like yourself. She and her husband were actively working with a fertility expert, a physician, on how to get pregnant, and agreed with the premise that she was young, healthy, wanted to get pregnant, and shouldn't get the vaccination for medical purposes. But she was fired because you made it hard, just like you said in your statement, because you didn't want to make sure that the ideological got in the way of her working, of living her life, of making a medical decision with her healthcare professional. I think America should take great offense to this.
Well, there you go. That was the testimony. And I'm glad that he took him on. Absolutely glad he took him on. Now, I wanted to ask you several questions in this. And I got so much more in his testimony we're going to get into coming up next. But, and Dr. Fauci also confessed that he, quote, made up the 6-foot rule. There was no such thing. He has no research, no nothing. And he has no research, nothing whatsoever. He made up the crap about children wearing masks being effective. He destroyed children's education. The 6-foot rule, social distancing, is why schools couldn't operate. The 6-foot rule is why businesses were shut down. And it was all fake, and none of it was based in science, and he knows that, and he admitted it. And then you hear him in audio figuring out how to scare the beep out of us and destroy our lives. And I think about, what's her name, the hairdresser, who refused to comply. And back then, I didn't know the whole story, and I was suckered. I repented a few months later of my belief of this disgusting joke. These lies, all of them lies. And I have learned, and I'll bet you have learned, the next pandemic could kill us all. We could vomit blood and have our blood coming from our eyes and go crazy and die. You know that stuff can happen with different diseases. And we will not believe them. I will not believe them. I will not take a vaccine because I cannot trust these people. I take all the regular vaccines before this, and I still will take the regular ones after this for whatever. I didn't get my flu this year because all this stuff turned me off, but I've done that many times. I'm not against them. All my kids are all vaxxed up to what they should be. Not this crap. Not this crap. My wife was smart. She never once touched this crap, and she never gave my kids this. She refused. My son was being dangled hundreds of dollars by his junior college through the county. Oh, we'll give you $200 or $400. You know what that means to an 18-year-old? You bleepity bleeps. It's all fake. It's a lie. It didn't stop anything. It was all a lie. It was not a pandemic of the unvaccinated. That's a lie. And they destroyed people and people's lives. They destroyed our military. This man has got no reckoning. There's so much more. I'm going to give you more details. Did you know that NIH scientists made $710 million? He ran the NIH, National Institutes for Health, which was overseeing the CDC. He refused to allow Dr. Robert Redford to do his job. Dr. Robert Redford was the one under Trump that was supposed to handle the pandemic. Fauci made it so he could not possibly run the pandemic, and he pushed him to the side and shut him up because he was telling the truth. He knew it was a lab leak from the second, and so did Fauci and all of his advisors. And his assistant, his right-hand man, is caught lying, saying, I know how I was taught by the lady. I reached out to, I was told, call that lady. I reached over to that lady at FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, and she'll teach you how to make sure before you get FOIA, you can delete it and get it out. It's illegal to do that. Second of all, he said there's backdoor to Dr. Fauci. We either take it to his house or we send it to his personal email. And Fauci says, oh, no, that never happened. Yeah, that's why you're assisting. You're the head. You're in charge. You made the message clear. Hide everything, cover up, and Fauci cut the checks and made this gain-of-function research. He killed millions of us. He killed us. He destroyed our economy. Many people didn't get to be with their grandma, their wife, their husband, their mom. I thank you, God, that my parents are in their 80s, 70s, and they're still alive. I don't want to think about not being with them in a room. for a lie. Your mom leaves this world for a lie. You can't be with her and hug her and hold her. What the gosh darn heck? This man ruined things. Sorry, he did. And he allowed the teachers union, and Joe Biden did, to destroy your child's education. I'm sorry I got angry there, but you know what? I'm realizing how much this man destroyed everything for us. He ruined our economy. He's part of the reason why we have inflation. And people on the left still telling me excuses about COVID. Get that crap out of here. Shove that crap. I'm so sick of that word. All right, will you follow guidance? Okay, three things. Do you believe in Fauci? Do you believe Anthony Fauci, what he said today? Number 2, will you follow guidance from the CDC, NIH if we have another pandemic? And do you think what Fauci and his NIH employees did should be a crime? I hope it is. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. I love my parents so much. I'm going to see them later this month for a week. I'll tell the story in a minute about that because I was just talking to him about my upcoming visit, and I cannot imagine being with. I can't imagine. She'd probably say, "Get me out of this hospital. I want to be with you." I wouldn't blame her. All right, 800-288-WBAP. That's coming up next, and more audio. You have to hear Marjorie Taylor Greene. She destroys him. It is so awesome. Next.
In that room? No, absolutely not. I mean, everything I said is correct. It's how the American people feel. It's what we know to be a fact. It's all the evidence has been proven true. We have Jamie Raskin in there accusing us of worshiping Trump, worshiping as a convicted felon. Well, yeah, so is George Floyd. And everybody, and you all too, the media worship George Floyd. Democrats worship George Floyd. There were riots burning down the country over George Floyd, and Raskin is in there saying we worship him. Excuse me, let me correct you, and this is really important. I don't worship, I worship God. And Jesus is my savior. I don't worship President Trump, and I'm really sick and tired of the bullshit annex I have to deal with constantly from the Democrats. So that's what we just went through in there. And then they're sitting there, they can attack my character all day long. What's his face in there? Whoever was talking last was calling me insane, but yet we can't say, oh, they're attacking my character. Oh no, it's nonstop BS and annex. You want to know why? The Democrats don't have anything. They're responsible for the lockdowns, forced vaccinations, kids being forced to stay home, people committing suicide, and all the horrors that this country lived through during COVID. Fauci belongs in prison. He should be tried for mass murder, and he should be tried for crimes against humanity. That's how I feel after that hearing. That's how the American people feel.
8 of the men, MTG. And now I know why Tucker has donated money to her. Somebody reported it like a year or two ago, and he was still at Fox. Well, we need firecrackers like that. Ted Cruz is not as crude, but he's a gadfly. He has a perfect position in the Senate. He should never be taken out of the Senate, though. Some people want him as like vice president. He is perfect where he's at. He literally needs to be there for as long as he wants to be there for life. He's that good, and he serves a perfect purpose for what he does. He is a gadfly, which is it's like a Socrates was kind of like that. It's what he used that term. That's where I got it from way back when. They bite you on the rump. And you swat at them, but they're right. They raise Cain properly. All right, so do you trust Fauci? Do you believe him as he testified today? Will you follow guidance from the CDC, NIH if we have another pandemic? And do you think what Fauci and his NIH employees did should be a crime? I sure do. I will I'm not going to believe the CDC, NIH for a long, long time. So any pandemic comes along, I'm most likely not going to follow any of their stuff. It's all a lie. Even if President Trump comes, it's not his fault. He's not an expert. The experts lied to him. People say, well, he kept Fauci. He praised him. Yeah, because he didn't know what was going on. He's not a scientist. He sure knows now. Lou in Arlington, you've called in. Our number, by the way, is 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. On News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. And Lou, how are you, friend?
I'm real good, sir.
I got to tell you, what really made me go nuts, I don't know if you heard, but in the last segment was this. I'm going to see my pal. How old are you, Lou?
Yes, sir.
How old are you, brother?
Well, actually, I'm a female.
Oh, my gosh. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Sorry. It's okay. It's a nickname.
I apologize. Anyways, how old are you, roughly? No, not trying to grill you.
Yeah, over 50.
Okay, me too. I'm 50. I'll be 51 this summer. And my parents are probably around your parents' age. Mine are 77, 78-ish, right?
Right.
And I had a flash of anger in that last segment because I didn't fully grasp what people were going through. Like Janice Dean's husband, his parents were killed in that pandemic. He couldn't see him or anything. And I can't imagine having your mom on the other side of the glass. Are your parents still alive?
No.
When did you lose them?
Well, I lost my dad some time ago, and before the pandemic, and I lost my mother right before the pandemic hit, but she died of natural causes.
Could you imagine in your mom and dad's last days not being allowed to be near them, to comfort them, to love them, to tell them how much you love them and everything they've done for you?
No.
That's what I thought about in that last segment. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just had to share that last part. That's what made me so angry. I'm going to I'm going to be with him in 3 weeks. I get to see him for a week, twice, 3 times a year, and that's all I get. So go ahead. I apologize. Go ahead, Lou.
No, I was just going to say, I was in the medical field, and I recognized something was real wrong, and I started looking up different things on the computer just to check this out. I said, I'm not going to take this vaccine. They say it's not even a vaccine. It's not even a vaccine.
No, it's not.
And none of the manufacturers can be held accountable for anything they do. And this one wasn't even tested correctly. It wasn't even tested.
No.
I mean, and so they just put it out there like we're the guinea pigs.
Yeah, and that's actually the truth.
Yeah,
and
I'm gonna in
go ahead,
2020, in 2020, I found a Newsweek article, April 2020. It said Fauci moves research lab from North Carolina to Wuhan, China, and that was a big topic, And I was saying, well, why would he move it? And then all of a sudden and then he announces 2 years before we have the pandemic. He tells Donald Trump and we're going to have a pandemic. We're going to have an epidemic in 2 years. How did he know that? Because he's making it. He made it. And
you think he intentionally did it?
Yeah, he intentionally did it. And what they do is they make these things, and then they make a supposed cure for it that doesn't cure anything and just actually kills people, just like he did for HIV patients.
Here's what I believe. I believe that, as most people who are honest, that it was a lab leak from Wuhan Institute for Virology. CDC, former CDC director at the time, who was not allowed to be a CDC director, which is who he said they had a pandemic plan ready to go that could have handled all this the right way. But it was dismissed, and he was not allowed to do his job. He was supposed to do it. Anyway, they had actually, you know who it was? It was the investigator for the COVID stuff that Trump hired that showed all. He was he's a doctor, a scientist. He was in charge of the unfettered investigation to get classified materials, everything. In the Trump administration, he released this tremendously long report. We all talked about it when it was released. It was quite profound. And he was on today with the Martha McCallum show, and he was talking about this, and that's what he was saying was this was a lab leak, and that that he still believes to this day. Dr. David Asher is his name. It just came to my mind, and he says it was a lab leak. He doesn't believe. He says no one. We don't believe. I don't believe. And he's a Trump. Trump put him in there. To investigate this. He says this. I don't believe at all. This was intentional. I don't believe it was weaponized. I believe they were trying to do the gain of function stuff. It was handled horribly because the Chinese laboratory was, as was reported, it was like a level 2 facility, which is the level of a dental office.
Well, why?
So that's
why
how
would
much.
you
That's how protected.
weaponize-
That's how protected the people in there and the community around them was like a level of a dental office when they're handling a deadly virus and enhancing it like 8, 10, 12 times, Frankensteining it with all sorts of different things. It's a total synthetic biology, is what he said. Dr. David Asher said. They made this up, and because of their incompetence and ineptitude, and yes, Chinese military bio weapon people were working next to them, hand by hand, and this bleepity bleep Fauci wrote the checks, cut it, and made sure it happened and wanted it to happen, and now he lies and covers it up. Go ahead, please.
And they used our money. Obama didn't want
to kill us.
do the research in the U.S. because he said, we don't want an epidemic over here, Fauci. And so he wrote a letter to all of his scientists, we got to stop this research. And at the end of the letter, he said, keep going.
Yeah.
This is all the same double talk that he's done all of his life.
Thank you, Lou. I appreciate your great call. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. The NIH scientists made $710 million in royalties from the drug makers. This just came out today from a Freedom of Information request and reported by the New York Post today. $710 million in royalties from people in the NIH made that in royalties. And Fauci and his acolytes there at the NIH are doing everything they can to block it. All the information. They're still FOIAing things. So they have, let me tell you this. This is what I wrote down when I went through all this and reacted this morning reading through this. They've ruined the next time that they need, quote unquote, to tell us something that could be life-saving. They're ruining our country and our safety and our lives. They have ruined them while getting $710 million from those people at the NIH that put this. And by the way, Fauci said today, I don't remember anything to support that masking kids would prevent COVID. There is no accountability for the left, whether it be the Hunter Biden case, a sweetheart deal that was caught, or Joe Biden rigging the trial against Trump. There's no accountability for the left, just us. And even when the accountability is fake and put together to take down our president, our presidential candidate. Trump, he gets jail for doing something that wasn't even a crime, that was expired past statute of limitations, that the Federal Elections Commission looked at and said, not only is there's no crime here, we're not even going to fine him. And that the Cy Vance, the DA of Manhattan, looked at it and said, there's no case here. And the federal government, the Justice Department, Joe Biden's Justice Department looked at this and would love to prosecute Trump. They found nothing. The local charges, the statute of limitations expired after, I think, 4 years. It's been 7 years. Right before the election. Hey! Oh, we know! Wow! Horrible! Oh, my gosh! Same thing for the Fauci and the NIH and killing us. They killed millions of us, and they made millions. Hundreds of millions, it appears. All right. And... the NIH, this is from the Post, and then we're gonna move on. 800-288-WBAP is our number, by the way, 800-288-9227. The NIH is still redacting pieces of data that would help us more easily connect therapeutics with the government-paid inventors. Says the Post, they refuse to show us the amount of royalties paid to each individual scientist, so we cannot entirely follow the money. Fauci could come out publicly and demand the NIH and CDC voluntarily unmask royalty payments. He won't. Then we could see their decisions with how they have on the advanced general welfare or their own, whose decision making they have whose welfare they have, us or them. And Fauci could also support fixes to FOIA that create real consequences for those who purposely violate it, which is what his right-hand man did. His right-hand man was doing it because his boss was telling him to do it. He follows his boss. Everybody follows the direction of their employer or they're eventually fired. And now it's Dr. Moran's. And now Fauci says, well, I don't know what he did. I didn't tell him. I don't know what he's talking about. Yeah, good job, you liar. You know, he was the highest paid government employee of all the government, $400,000 a year, more than the president, to destroy us and kill us. All right, we got a couple more calls. Your call is next. 3 lines open, 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. That's coming up next on the Chris Crock Show on News Talk 820 WBAP and now on FM at 93.3. By the way, I didn't get to this. I'll pop off a quick thing. Did you hear what major prestigious award Robert De Niro was about to be presented that he was stripped of? It's a big one. Oh, it's all because of his craziness at the courthouse. All that next. News Talk 820 WBAP now on FM at 93.3. Look at this. Breaking. I got an email from Anthony Fauci to Christina Cassetti at the NIH AID March 16th of 2020. So about a month after the lockdowns here started. I had just come back from Cancun. My parents were with us. They used to watch the children back then. It was 4 years ago. He was like 16. I'm not going to leave a 16 and a 13-year-old alone for a week. You know, that's when we don't do that. So they were kind enough to come and show them around. You know, they had a good time with Grandma and Grandpa. Okay. Anyways, it shows for the. I'll read you that email in a second. Let's go to Paul in Denton, who's called in at 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Do you trust Fauci? Will you follow the guidance from the CDC if we have another pandemic or NIH? And do you think what Fauci and his NIH employees did was criminal? Hi, Paul.
Yeah, I do think what he did is criminal. And the comment I had was, hey, you know, why didn't that International Criminal Court issue arrest warrants for the people who killed millions of people with COVID?
Who did?
Exactly. Exactly. That's a great, I like that.
And they're wasting their time going after a guy who's defending his own country, and when they should be issuing arrest warrants for all those guys who were behind COVID. You know,
they would rather go after Trump and Republicans than they would expose and catch people who lied and killed millions of us. And destroy. Listen, they destroyed, as you know, they destroyed every little boy and girl's education in school districts like inner city Dallas or Fort Worth or Chicago at all. And you can think of how many little black and brown children who are disadvantaged, who their schools might be failing and difficult, but mom or dad, maybe they're single parents, most of them might be in these instances, and mom or dad have to work. And this kid, instead of learning and being challenged in some way, having something, was left home alone, practically abandoned. And for what? For what? I mean, they destroy these kids' lives. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, they didn't. I mean, I'll guarantee you that any other, just like y'all say, anything else that comes out, nobody's going to believe them anymore.
No. And what's sad is people like me who homeschool, our kids didn't skip a beat. Not one. We didn't lose anything. And the Great Awakening has happened in this. And Governor Abbott now has the power. He's actually done it successfully. He's kicked out and got ushered in new people to make the school vouchers pass. And it's going to pass this year. And it's a huge accomplishment for Abbott to do. I'm proud of him. And ironically, it was the Republicans in rural areas of Texas that were literally, listeners, they got thousands of dollars in donations from the teachers' unions, Republicans in rural Texas. Crazy, but it's true. Not anymore. Yeah. I got to go, bro, but I appreciate you. Okay, how long do I have? Okay, just enough time. Robert De Niro was stripped of his National Association of Broadcasters Award, NAB. They stripped him of an award, a huge award. They rescinded it after he gave his rant at the Trump courthouse. He said that people would perish from the earth if Trump was reelected. Anyway, NAB noted De Niro's recent high-profile activities will create a distraction from the philanthropic work. We wanted to highlight this event is proudly bipartisan, uniting those from across the political spectrum to celebrate the impactful work of local broadcasters and their partners. While we strongly support the right of every American to exercise free speech and participate in civic engagement, it's clear De Niro's high-profile activities will create a distraction from the philanthropic work that we are hoping to recognize to maintain focus on the service of the award winners. Mr. De Niro will no longer be attending the event. Good. It's exactly right. It's what you want to be a crazy man, then a conspiracy theorist, you're not welcome here. That's a prestigious broadcasters organization. That's the one big one that everybody respects. They're kind of the mother of radio radio and TV outfits. Okay, coming up next, we have so much more. Oh, we're going to get into, what do I got up next? My everything's kind of thrown around in a little circle here. Okay, the illegals. Biden breaks the law to give millions of illegals workers permits. Biden offering mass amnesty to hundreds of thousands of these illegals in asylum cases, and a brand new gunman who's from an illegal from Joe Biden has shot 2 cops. That's next.